Alright, here we go. Time for another story. This one's coming to you from Sleeping Beauty. A message from Maleficent. It was a time of celebration. King Stephen was getting married. He had chosen a kind of princess from the neighborhood kingdom to be his queen. The king's subjects rejoiced, but no one was happier than the three good fairies. Flora, Bona, and Merryweather. The three hurried to the castle to help the king and his future bride, Princess Leia, with the wedding plans. Princess Leia had many ideas for her wedding, but she was new to the kingdom and did not know whom to invite. She wanted to make sure that no one in the kingdom was missed, so she asked the good fairies to deliver the invitations. Blue wedding invitations, Merryweather said, excited. Can you think of anything lovelier? With a flick of the wand, she created a large stack of blue envelopes. Oh no, that won't do. They should be pink, Flora said, changing the envelopes to a pale pink. Blue, Merryweather said, changing them back. Back and forth the envelopes went until at least they settled on a light purple that both fairies had agreed were quite nice. What is that other fairy's name so I can pronounce it right? Hello, dear. What is the other fairy's name so I can pronounce it right?
Fauna.
Fauna, is that it? Okay. like your deer?
Yeah.
On the other side of the room, Fauna was hard at work on her guest list. We don't need to invite too many people, she said thoughtfully. Just the local royalty and noblemen, and all the king's subjects, of course. Oh, and every fairy hedge witch, and a wise woman in the 100-mile radius. Fauna words. Flora looked up. Do you think we should invite? Her voice trailed off. Maleficent? Merryweather asked quietly. The fairy Maleficent lived high on a forbidden mountain. Her presence rarely brought any good cheer. But still, she was one of the king's subjects. With a sigh, Fauna nodded. I suppose we must, she said. Merryweather shuddered, just thinking about Maleficent giving her a shiver. Who will we get to deliver the envelope? The invitation, she asked. The way Maleficent's castle is treacherous, and we cannot risk the invitation getting lost. One of us will have to go, Flora said. She flicked her hand, and a dove appeared from her wand. It circled the room 3 times and then landed on Merryweather's shoulder. It was up to her to deliver the invitation of Maleficent. pages. Alright. The next day, Meriwether set off from Maleficent's castle. By evening, she had reached the woods around the Forbidden Mountain. Her magic was weak here. She would have to walk. Meriwether looked at the winding path that led into the woods. It was getting dark, and the wind moaned eerily through the trees. Shivering, Meriwether pulled her wand out of her cloak pocket. With a flick of her wrist, she lit the tip of the wand, and a warm light comforted her as she bravely continued down the path. Alas, Meriwether was not alone in the wood. Maleficent's minions, the goons, were out patrolling. Even worse, for poor Meriwether, the evil creatures loved causing mischief. I'll be there soon. Everything will be fine, Meriwether told herself. She tried to take her mind off of the spookiness of the dark woods. But she turned around the curve in the path. 3 goons jumped out at her. Jamie Meriwether ran down the path as fast as her little legs would carry her. Finally, she lost the goons. These are wicked creatures, she said when she had calmed down. I'd like to scare them and see how they'd like it. Meriwether looked around. Somehow, it seemed the woods had grown even darker. Cold wind blew through the trees, chilling the little fairy to the core. Meriwether wanted nothing more than to turn back. But the other fairies were counting on her. Meriwether made her way down the path. She noticed the trees growing closer and closer together. Large thorns stuck out from the trunks, making it impossible to get through without scratching. Suddenly, a chorus of loud howls echoed through the woods. It sounded like the cry was coming from right behind Meriwether. "Oh, fiddlesticks," she yelled, as her cloak caught a thorn. The goons had been bad enough. She certainly didn't want to meet any wolves in the dark woods. Meriwether freed herself from the tree and hurried down the path as carefully as she could. The sooner she delivered the invitation, the sooner she could get back to the Bright Worm's castle. Finally, Meriwether reached the edge of the woods. A giant stone staircase loomed above her, leading to Maleficent's lair. Up, 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 Meriwether climbed until, at last, she came to the rickety bridge. On the other side was Maleficent's castle. Its jagged peaks rose to the sky. A dark storm cloud circled overhead. Meriwether looked nervously at the bridge. It looked like it could collapse at any moment. Tucking her invitation into her cloak, she stepped out onto the bridge. The wood shook and creaked with every step the little fairy took. Meriwether kept her eyes on the stone landing ahead of her. Below was a deep chasm. The bridge gave out. She would have a long way to fall. Finally, Meriwether reached the other side. As she stepped onto the landing, a blast of green magic burst out of Maleficent's castle. A loud scream filled the air. That was the last straw for Meriwether. She took out the invitation and carefully placed it on the castle's doorstep. Then, without looking back, she raced across the bridge, down the steps, and through the woods. She was so busy running away, she didn't see the goons who had followed her and picked up the invitation and scampered off with it. Meriwether didn't stop until she reached the King Stephen's castle. She finally found Flora and Fauna in the great hall. "Oh, Meriwether, dear, whatever's the matter?" Flora asked. "Wasn't it better come to the wedding?" Meriwether said when she caught her breath. "The journey to deliver that invitation nearly scared me to death." Flora smiled at Meriwether. "Come now," she said. "How bad could it really have been?" Soon, the day of the King Stephen and Princess Leah's wedding arrived. Everyone in the kingdom gathered for the happy event. Everyone, that is, except for Maleficent. High on her forbidden mountain, fairies looked down on the celebration. "Look at those fools," she said aloud. "Who do they think they are, not inviting me to their celebration? Well, enjoy it while you can. I'll get you for this someday." And that was that one. Hope you enjoyed it.